This is Carolyn Steve Wells. This is a few more words about the curse of Canaan. We're going to be doing this occasionally. Since we're going so quickly, we don't always get everything. Take a step back and focus on something in particular. This episode is going to be on the curse of Canaan. And I'm going to go ahead and read it first. And then we're going to talk to you about what we found troubling. Noah, the drunk and naked. After Noah sacrificed the clean animals for God, he planted a vineyard, made wine, got drunk, and lay naked in his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father Noah naked and told his brothers about it. Ham's brothers, Shem and Japheth, took a garment and covered their naked father, walking backwards and not looking at his nakedness. When Noah sobered up, he knew what his younger son had done to him. And he said, "Blessed be the God of Shem. Canaan shall be his slave. God will enrich Japheth, who will live in Shem's tents, and Canaan will be his slave." That's the end of the verse.
And maybe we should mention that this is from chapter 9 of the book of Genesis, just in case we've forgotten that. It's only just a few verses, verses 20 through 28.
Yeah. So we're thinking that maybe the punishment that Ham's son will receive because of what Ham did to Noah seems disproportionate to what Ham did. What do you think?
I think everybody who has read this, particularly believers, is troubled by it, because we have the question of what did Ham do? The question of why did he do it? What was the motive of doing what he did? And then you have the punishment, and why was that punishment? Why was it made to the person that it was? There's a lot of questions that are not at all obvious from the text itself.
Well, when I read the text, it says that Ham saw his dad naked.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we believe that at face value?
Okay, some have said that you should. In fact, that's all there is here. What you read is when he's seeing their father naked, when it says that, that's what he did. He saw his father naked, and that's it. And that alone was enough to, that was the offense that Ham did, and he deserved the punishment for that act.
When in fact, he's not the one who got the punishment for the act.
No, he didn't. And he didn't really do anything, right? He
Right.
just happened to walk in on his dad. So, and yet you have such a severe punishment. It's one of the common theories that Ham just saw his father naked.
What are other theories?
Yeah. There are other theories, and they all are, we're trying to keep this as
clean?
Uh-huh. But in the Bible, when you uncover the nakedness of someone, it usually is more than uncovering the nakedness of someone.
What do you mean by that?
It usually means some type of sexual activity is involved. In fact, later we'll see, when we get to Leviticus, there's a whole series of people that whose nakedness you're not supposed to uncover, with severe penalties for doing so. And no one thinks that what they're talking about there is uncovering the nakedness of them.
Seeing them naked.
That's not what they're saying. It's not
Okay.
seeing them naked, it is having sex with them.
Okay.
And so because of the language here, they use that idiom of uncovering the nakedness, makes people think that there was more than just seeing nakedness involved. And so what people say, well, what could it be?
Yeah.
Well, once you ask yourself that question, you almost end up with answering it by saying it was some type of rape, that some type of sexual assault that Ham did on his father while he was drunk. I should say one other thing, there's some arguments against the just seeing idea. You know, people don't usually get drunk and then take all their clothes off. So it's suspicious also that there's some sexual activity going on because he's drunk and naked. Usually
Yes.
people just get drunk and they pass out, but they keep their clothes on.
Well, I can see that if the theory is that it was a rape of his father, then that would kind of fit. I mean, I'm not saying the punishment was commensurate with the crime, but it's more than just seeing his dad naked. That doesn't make any sense at all, to have that curse of his son if all Ham did was see his dad.
Right. I think that's an argument in favor of the rape of his father. At least some type of sexual activity. It might not be rape, but some type of, he sexually molested his father in the tent. And then he told his brothers about it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
He did tell them that he was naked. Maybe he told them what he did. In any case, that would make more sense. It would be more in line with the severe punishment that he had, or not he had, because he wasn't really punished. It was his descendants, or Canaan, his son's descendants, and his son.
That does seem crazy. Why punish the son of Ham?
Yes.
If Ham's the one who committed the crime.
That's one of the weaknesses of this theory, is that it doesn't fit. Why punish the grandson or the son of the person who is doing it? And why punish that particular son? Ham had 4 sons. Canaan was the youngest son. So he had 3 other sons. Why pick this one? Mm-hmm. So that doesn't answer that question.
So are there other theories out there about what Ham might have done to his dad?
Yeah. Another theory that was popular with the rabbis has been that he castrated him.
He castrated his dad?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds pretty severe.
Well, they thought it had to be something severe because the punishment was so severe. So what are you going to? You kind of run out of possibilities. He could have raped him, could have castrated him. What else could there be?
So castration, like I'm thinking in those days, with no medical procedures.
It would have been messy and dangerous for sure. And I imagine that there's a lot of people that wouldn't survive that. But at least he would know when he woke up that something happened and what happened.
Yeah, he would. Jeepers!
Whereas if he was just looked at, he wouldn't. He'd have
How would
no
he
way
know?
of knowing. Even if there was some type of sexual activity, depending on what type, he might not know that as well, and how drunk he was.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't be castrated without knowing what happened the next morning.
No.
And you'd be upset about that.
A little bit.
But that has the same problem, really, I think, for the people that are punished, didn't do the crime. Ham did it, and he's cursing his son. So it doesn't take care of that problem.
And the curse, what was the curse?
Ah, that's an important point, because the curse was that Canaan would be a slave to his brothers, and all of Canaan's descendants would be slaves.
Slavery.
Slavery was the result here. And it was also something that involved the Canaanites, because the Canaanites were the descendants of Canaan.
Uh-huh.
And so that explains the Canaanites, as we'll see later, are going to be the enemies of the Israelites throughout the Old Testament. The reason this story exists is to explain the Canaanites. And why? Why are there Canaanites? Where did they come from? Well, now we know. We had this kind of horrible incident here.
Yeah.
And it ended up with Canaan being cursed and all of his descendants being slaves.
Okay. Well, after learning about this, do you have any ideas on what it might have been that Ham did to his dad?
Yeah, I think I know what happened.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I don't.
I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. Maybe we should ask people to pause the podcast here and think about what some possibilities themselves, and then when they, give yourself a little bit of time, and then come back, and I'll tell you what really happened.
Do I have to do it too?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay, well, folks, take a few minutes.
Okay, well, we're back, and I'll tell you the answer now.
Okay, great.
It turns out that in the Bible, uncovering the nakedness of someone is not as simple as just uncovering their nakedness. And it isn't as simple as just having sex with them. A lot of times, uncovering the nakedness of someone is not uncovering the nakedness of the person that's being referred to. If, for instance, if you uncover the nakedness of a man's wife, you're not just uncovering her nakedness, you're uncovering the nakedness of her husband. Don't uncover the nakedness of your aunt, because that's uncovering the nakedness
of your uncle.
That type of thing. So so you kind of see where I'm going here? Yeah?
Well, so if he uncovered the nakedness of his dad, then he would be uncovering the nakedness of
someone else. Someone else that's closely related, someone else that's around.
Well, I mean, his wife doesn't matter if you uncover the nakedness of the wife.
Yes, it does. If you uncover the nakedness of his wife, you'd be uncovering the nakedness of Noah.
But this is the reverse. So he's uncovering the nakedness of Noah. Oh, you're thinking maybe he had sex with his mom.
Exactly. That's what did happen, in fact.
Oh, okay. Well, you are pretty secure in your answer.
I'm joking, of course. I don't think any of this happened, but that seems to be the best theory of what the story is saying. I don't think any of this happened.
Okay.
But I think that the person that's making up this story had this in mind, that Ham came in, the father got drunk. Alcohol is usually associated with sex in the Bible. In the Song of Solomon, it's all over the place. We'll see it in just a few chapters in Genesis where alcohol is related to sex. Usually people indulging in alcohol. But the story, I think, is that Noah was drinking his wine, got drunk.
Alone?
No, he was with his wife.
Okay.
And so he's getting ready to, have sex with his wife, and he was in that process, but he maybe drank a little bit too much. He was all naked and stuff. But his son came in. Ham came in.
Yes.
And Ham saw what was going on, and his dad's just kind of too drunk to do this, and so he did the job for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you can see why he'd be upset about that.
Yeah.
You can also see it gives you a motive. There's a motive here. It's kind of the same motive as the castration, where it's trying to get the power of the father. And then it also makes sense with the punishment. Now, his mom's going to have the son.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and so that's the kid you want to punish.
That is going to be Canaan.
Yes.
And all of the descendants, because that is a tainted lineage, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
A thing like this happen,
yeah,
it totally interrupts that whole seed line. Yeah, we've got a total new bunch of people here, and obviously they are going to be contaminated by this. They're all going to be bad people, and in the Bible they are bad people. So that's everything. It explains the motive, it explains the punishment, and it especially explains why he would curse a grandson. It's not.
So the story that we read, to me, that's just kind of not the real story. We don't know.
You mean the story right here?
Yes, the story that I read earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that didn't give me any idea about other possibilities.
Yeah, well, that's why we had people pause the podcast. You have to think about it.
Okay.
So, to sum up.
Yes.
Now we know who did it. Who committed the crime?
Ham committed the crime.
Ham committed the crime. But we didn't know what the crime was.
No.
What's the crime?
The crime is having sex with his mom.
With his mom, yes. Which resulted in what?
In the baby Canaan.
The baby Canaan, yes. Who the mom conceived and had a child.
Had a son, and that son's going to carry on this curse.
Yes.
Him and all of his descendants.
All of his descendants, because the Canaanites are so evil, and this is the origin story of the Canaanites.
Oh my gosh. The curse is that they will be slaves.
Yeah. And that all fits because the descendants of Ham are thought to be blacks that are living in Africa. It also explains more than just the Canaanites. It also explains slavery, because they're slaves,
yes,
and also the racial aspect.
Hey, thank you for doing that research, for discovering this answer for all of us, and me.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes the most sense of the theories that are out there.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Thanks for sticking with us. Bye.